Hi, I'm gonna continue this from the beginning as the network failed, but I'm just gonna record a little bit of narration for this. One of the first things that came to my mind when I was designing this idea was that shared background I have with some of my friends. My family, for example, in the past grew up selling eggs in a small local fair, and my grandfather, in my mother's side, made his way selling vegetables in the public market. Similarly, when I was talking to some of my friends, what they all talked about was how hard it was for their families to obtain extra employees for the hard work involving finances, operations, and budget management, as their main constraint was having enough income to provide a reasonable wage for an extra employee. Among all of the processes, the main issue of managing resources, wait, okay, main issue for of managing resources would be best done by using data management software. But in case when a business owner does not have time nor resources to learn coding in these programs lingo, such as Excel, Access, and I thought of a way to automatize this process. I took one of my friend's family case, for example, who sells glasses and construction materials, and its biggest bottleneck is generating quotations for each individual client, which used to be done through Excel, but due to the complexity of the sheets for the owner, they went back into doing all of it by hand. Obviously, creating an application would be a little bit costly for the developer initially, and it would be more profitable and less costly if it was done by a third party consultant or if another person was hired for this. But considering that most small business owners do not have enough financial resources to be able to hire someone else, and hiring someone for free would oftentimes be um, unethical depending on the workload and how constant the work is, in the case of Brazil at least. I thought of the application as one of the best options in terms of cost efficiency for the business owner himself, thinking about the business owner side. So this is a little mock-up of the app that I designed. I have not given a name for this, but I'm gonna demonstrate a little bit later how it would work. So um, remembering my friend's family case, he needs to create quotations, which used to be done through Excel, but because it was too complex for them to handle, and they are not able to hire someone else to do it for them, they went back into doing all of it by hand, which um, in turn generated a little bit. It became a little bit less time efficient. So through this idea, in the backend there will be all the formulas required for the owner to run all the services, and in the front end there will be user-friendly interface which would only require a few steps. Additional features would be to store suppliers' data and easily substitute old data by new data, generate a PDF with a quotation, indicate missing fields, and sync spreadsheets through Google Drive because nobody wants to lose their data. And I'm gonna show after this a little bit of how it will work. But in terms of design, this is the initial design. There's a lot that could be done more than this. It's just standard design, and for it to become more cost efficient developing the app, there will be a switch to the Apple design or the Material design, which are standard forms for either Android or iOS, and it generates less cost in terms of developing it. Here we can see a mock-up of how it will work. I've only prototyped a few parts of it, which include the new budget, new quotation, sorry, suppliers, and documents. Um, the new, let's take a look at the new quotation. So there are three tabs here. I've only prototyped the first and the third. First is the glass quotation template, which is what they sell, what their main product is. So click on it. There are all these fields which would put all the variables that they need, such as the length, how deep it is, the type of glass, type 1 or type 2, the color, yellow or red, for example, just arbitrary colors that I put, and distance in case of shipping, and additional costs, such as, for example, if they would need to hire someone just for the day to, for example, take the glass to the 6th floor, which for my friend's father, as he's a little bit of age, it would be a little bit hard for his health. So after all this data inserted, and with the backend formulas running, for example, I put 10 meters of length, 5 of depth, which would result in 15 square meters. He would choose type 1, for example, which are 2 heights per square meter. The color yellow would multiply by 2 the original price, so it would become 200 heights. Then shipping 20 kilometers, 15 heights, additional cost of taking the glass to, let's say, 2nd floor, 5 heights. Then subtotal without taxes, 220, taxes of 20% on average that they pay, and then the final value, final quotation of 264. This data is not optimized for sending to the user. Then they would generate PDF. This prototype did not generate a PDF, but they would be able to generate a PDF and share it through email, message, or other file sharing applications. Going back to the new quotation page, there is the new model, which would allow them to set a new set of parameters. So, for example, this is not prototyped correctly, but you can take a look at here. The new model, they would be able to select the unit, for example, square meter or section box. Select the price for each unit of this parameter, and in case it is a selection box, they will be able to type the kind of field, the kind of selection options they have here. So that's basically it. And here in the home page there will be the suppliers and documents. The suppliers, they would be able to change the data. Let's say one of the suppliers changed the price per square meter, and they would only go here in this tab. I have not prototyped this tab, but they would go into supplier 1, take a look at the price per square meter, change it, and then it would recalculate all the posterior quotations they would have. And if in case there is any part of the supplier's information that's missing, there would be the idea is to have it in red, so the business owner would know which information to look after. And I would imagine a kind of a tool that would allow them to generate an email template with the pre-filled information that they need for the supplier, and in the documents the previous quotations they generated, which they would have the option to store it within the device's storage or sync it with Google Drive. And I've also thought of thinking about other processes, such as current processes happening, like shipping, post sales, and a tab for settings set up for the business, so it's the most customizable as possible. Initially, I am aware that the main con of all of it is that developing an app might be costly if the one that developing the app is not does not have the resources for it. But thinking about this idea, it was mostly for making it easier for the business owner, for the small business owner, instead of for the developer himself. Because I think that sometimes it might need some extra work and like long-term planning to deliver what's best for the general community. So, well, that's the main idea that I had. Other ideas that I thought of were to creating a sharing, work sharing platform for such as, for example, one idea that I had with a friend of mine, that create a platform that connects all lawyers from a country and sets and lists pro bono cases which they would be able to select and then help those who need pro bono. And well, that's basically it. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry for the lost connection. I'm gonna try to regain it as soon as possible to talk with you later. And I look forward to hearing from you soon.